I am Forrest Frosty Krummel, the Interim and Transitional Minister at St. Paul's United Church of Christ. This week's Lenten devotion is a part of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, in which he said to those who were assembled, "Seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." Several years ago, a parishioner came to talk to me. It seemed as if their life was in a bit of a jumble. They had a calendar that was overflowing the pages. They had so many responsibilities. They didn't know how to get their life into balance. As I listened to the individual talk to me, I realized that he was being pulled in several directions, at work, at home, in his civic responsibilities, as well as just trying to make time for himself. It struck me that what he needed was to have a hub in his life so that all the spokes of the wheel of his life might have some central focus and be better organized. And as I talked to him, the verse I just shared with you came to my mind. Seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. I said to him that he needed to really put God at the center of his life, to make God his hub, that he needed to begin his day with a time of prayer to help him organize not only his day, but his thoughts, and to see the interruptions that may come his way, not as interruptions, but maybe as God moments. I also told him that there are various stages or times in our lives in which certain things take on responsibilities. That in God's kingdom, in the teaching that Jesus gave in seeking the kingdom of God, that his first responsibility was really to himself, to take care of himself. If you've ridden in an airplane, you know that when you're getting instructions, they say that in case of emergency, if the oxygen mask drops down, to put the oxygen mask upon yourself first before helping someone else. He had to focus on self-care. And then his next responsibility was really to his family, to take care of his wife and children and his other family responsibilities. But in order to do that, he also had to be able to take care of his job, to be competent in what he did at work, but to not let work become so consuming that his family is left widowed and orphaned, that they need to have a part of his time too. And then I said that he needed perhaps to be involved in the life and the worship of his congregation. That is not the most important thing in his life if he's willing to begin his day seeking first the kingdom of God. That seeking God's kingdom will lead him into a community of faith. And then after that would come his civic and social responsibilities as he saw them. All of these things were intertwined. They all came out of the same hub, different spokes in his life. I don't really know what happened after we had our conversation. I suspect that his life did become in greater balance because he seemed less anxious than what he was before. And he knew that at certain times in his life, he needed to perhaps spend more time on his work in order to take care of his family and his other responsibilities. And at other times, he needed to spend more time with his family and let some of his work maybe wait for the next day. I hope that in this season of Lent, as you go about your spiritual journey and as you reflect upon your life, that you will take the words of Jesus to heart to help organize your own life and your own responsibilities, keeping in mind his words, to seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness. And then you will find that everything else in your life will fall into place. I invite you to join us in worship, either virtually or in person, on Sunday mornings. In-person worship is at 9:30 at St. Paul United Church of Christ in Pekin, Illinois. Take care. God bless.